In real estate, there are times when the market is not doing great. Most notably, like 2008, during the during the housing crisis, and also like during COVID. And during these periods, while for the majority of people things don't seem well, it's really the people that can look past all the noise and chaos that sees the opportunities here. Like for example, 2008, while the housing market was having struggles and buying and selling homes was not, it wasn't the best market to do it in. If you were doing short sales, foreclosures, or in property management, you made a lot of money. During COVID, um, I say during COVID, while the market seemed pretty bad, where people stuck inside, it's a great opportunity if you want to buy and sell. And also, if you were invested in doing property management, that also is another big avenue as well. Because imagine someone looking to sell their home, then COVID came around, and they thought maybe they couldn't sell their home as they could before. So you're looking to go ahead and just sit down. I'm gonna, have my property managed. There's an opportunity there. The point I'm making here is that whenever the market has a bad or looks bad on the outside, take a closer look to see what options you have for like a finesse. So in this story, you start like in Baltimore. So Baltimore is known to be kind of a rundown city with a lot of vacant properties. And as you already know, a lot of people tend to buy properties to invest in them to as long-term holds. From my experience in Baltimore, I've seen a lot of times that people either keep the properties that they had over years and they don't really renovate them. So they tend to do more of a buy and hold where they bought them maybe in the 80s or 70s, left them, and just maybe just rented them out and they're just poor condition. But um, the idea here, from the looks of it, the main ways to make the money is obviously wait a couple years, then wait for the sell when developers look to develop in the area. However, I found these two investors who found a way to make a bunch of money off of a different method. So these two investors in Baltimore, they basically bought a bunch of properties in Baltimore, around 700, and all the pipes are majority of the pipes are in foreclosure. I think about maybe 50% of the pipes they have are in foreclosure, which you would think is bad, right? But in actuality, they made quite a bit of money off these properties. So the way they did it was when you buy a dilapidated property, the general idea is that you buy the dilapidated property, you put some money into it, fix up for renovations, and then you either resell it or you just rent it out. And normally the way this works is that you get a loan, so like a hard money loan, or like there's a loan called a DSCR loan, where basically you take the loan out against how much the home could be worth when you resell it or when you try to rent it out. So basically the lender's taking a risk on this home, and that will be worth how much money you claim it is after you're done the work. Now, because of the risk of these loans, the lenders tend to do a lot more homework on it and tend to be a little more stricter on who they give these loans out to. Why? Because if you think about the collateral on it, let's say the home did not get the money that I was supposed to get, the collateral would be the property itself. Which, if you make the wrong calculations on how much money to lend somebody, you can end up making a lot less money back than you actually gave out. So in this case, there were two investors. They're actually based out of New York. They will buy homes in Baltimore for significantly above the asking value. Then they will go ahead, ask for a loan for renovation, and instead of renovating the property, they will pocket the difference and then dip out. And then that's it. So the way this works is, for example, let's say their home cost $13,000. They will offer $100,000 to buy the home. They will go to the lender and ask for a loan of $220,000. Once they get the money, they pocket, $120,000, and they obviously, and that's it. They walk off with that. Obviously, they already paid 100K for the home. Now, the issue with this is obviously if you don't pay back the money to these lenders, you end up defaulting and can risk the home going to foreclosure because you owe money on it, or you can risk the lender coming back to take over the property. Well, in this case, it's a $13,000 property. There's not really much value in retaking the property back, honestly. So these investors are paying to this multiple times for properties all over Baltimore. The way they got caught was because of the foreclosure prices going on in Baltimore currently. So apparently in Baltimore, there's a lot of homes going under foreclosure. It's having a pretty leaving a pretty bad stain on the city. When looking to some of these properties that are going under foreclosure, They had noticed that a lot of these properties were owned by the same group of people, which is how this got uncovered. Now, basically, as I said, they were basically buying these properties for significantly above asking price, taking out major loans, and just pocketing the difference. And technically, this wasn't mortgage fraud, so there's nothing, they can't really criminally charge for this. But this was, as they say, taking an extreme advantage of a process already set in stone. And it's really interesting because, technically speaking, the lenders who give out this money technically already have a process in place to make sure this that doesn't happen, or make sure that if they were to lend out money, that it doesn't, they can somehow make their return back. But in this case, all those safeguards have failed, and that was a situation where you have these two investors from New York walking away with a bunch of money without putting any work into renovating these homes. And not only did they not renovate these homes, but some of these homes also have tenants in them. So you have tenants in these properties that are in foreclosure, and because these people have made their money off the initial loan that they received, there's no incentive for them to even put any money into the property or even keep the property because they made a bunch of money off their little loan setup. They made more money off of finessing the loan in the course of maybe a few months compared to how much money they would have made in the next few years.